Law of attraction, some common discomforts that pop up and how to deal. Anyone who engages in any sort of personal development knows that sometimes the road to awesome is rife with bumps of all kinds. This can particularly be the case when you start working consciously with your energy and getting the law of attraction to work in your favor, if you will. Which brings me to a little reminder that I think a lot of people need when doing this work. This force is neutral. It is not judging, deciding, or doing anything else we humans do. The universe will not withhold something because you don't deserve it. It doesn't matter what mistakes or transgressions you have made in your past. The point of power is now, and the only way our past can affect our present is if we are still carrying around the same energy and beliefs, and still abiding by any decisions we made way back when. It doesn't matter how good of a person you are, or how hard you are trying. It can't give you something to which you are not a match. Loa blogger Melody Fletcher made the great analogy of it being like a computer, input and output, and noted it is simply a mechanical process. Great explanations. Went off on a bit of a tangent there, and now back to the topic at hand. Doing this work is kind of like coming out of a fog. You are moving through the world in a whole new way. You are getting in touch with yourself on a level that you probably never have previously. Coming off autopilot and living deliberately can be at the same time incredibly empowering and quite disconcerting. Here are some of my thoughts about this, and I hope that what you read here will soothe you a bit, and help you manifest more easily. It seems to actually be working, and that freaks you out a bit. So, you read about Loa. Something about it resonates and you believe there is some truth to this idea. But, your mind is not really on board. This is just such a different way of thinking and being than you have been engaging in your whole life. But things aren't going so hot and you give this whole conscious creation thing a whirl. And then things actually start getting better, and it surprises you, because let's face it, on some level, you don't expect it to work. It just can't be this easy. And, you may freak out a bit. Realizing how much power we truly have is one on hand, freaking awesome, and on another, kind of scary. You realize how passively we live most of the time, just letting life happen to us. That is kind of what we believed it was supposed to be like, and even though this new way of being is a hell of a lot better, it is still very new. And anything new, even when it is good, can still make us a bit fearful and uncomfortable. Realizing what a powerful creator we are opens up a whole new world of possibility for us. Things we would have deemed impossible for us before starting this work, all of a sudden, are anything but. Again, awesome, but scary. You start to see what a limited vision you have of yourself, and that it simply is not true in the least. And as great as it is that you realize this, it can feel really uncomfortable, because even if you weren't exactly happy with the type of life you had or person you were, it was familiar and comfortable. It served you in some way. As much as beliefs like you need to suffer, change has to be painful and difficult, you need to bust your ass to succeed, and other crap, have held you down, and caused you so much strife, you are comfortable believing these things. It allowed you to abdicate responsibility for your life. It allowed you to fit in with other people and not make any sort of waves. You certainly wouldn't draw any attention to yourself, or run the risk of being challenged on these views. You would find no shortage of people to commiserate with, and reinforce them. You have identified so strongly with the negative aspects of yourself and the bad things that have happened, and who would you be without these stories? Any of this sound familiar? It's okay, you are certainly not alone. I still experience this sometimes as I manifest bigger things with little effort. I'm still like, really, this is all it takes? It's this easy? My mind is still interfering just like anyone else, but over time, this resistance gets much more subtle. That acceptance of these feelings is one of the most powerful keys to dealing with them, and reducing the intensity of the freak out. Really focus on enjoying your manifestations, and congratulate yourself on this work you are doing. You are taking control of your life, and yeah, coming from a space where lack of control was a predominant vibe, that will feel weird sometimes. When you feel yourself backsliding, turn to materials that reinforce your faith in these concepts, things that resonate with you strongly. As a human, you are going to experience a range of emotions that is part and parcel of being a living, breathing being blessed with consciousness. Things are just going to get better and better, and you will become more comfortable with living from this more empowered, positive space. You kind of feel worse than you did before. One of the first things we need to do when we first start working with Law of Attraction is take inventory of what is happening in our lives now and how we are feeling. Chances are, your interest in this subject was prompted by some sort of unpleasantness in your life, whether it is your much-lamented single status, less than ideal financial situation, being stuck in a job you hate, or just a general malaise about your overall existence. So, you are aware you are not feeling so hot. But up until this point, you have probably been suppressing the full extent of it. Lots of rationalizing, denial, distraction and what have you. But now you are really feeling the full extent of it for the first time. It appears you feel worse, but this is kind of how you always felt, you just had never fully stepped into the belly of the beast. Acknowledging our feelings is the first step to transforming them, and for the really heavy stuff that is buried deep in your vibration, you can't just gloss over them, hoping they will go away. In theory, it is possible to shift energy and release beliefs quite quickly, but in the beginning especially, your mind is going to want to participate, which will involve analyzing, rehashing the past and what have you. Then there is the belief this type of work takes a lot of effort and a long time, and we have to make peace that it is there and will probably impact the process. But, as time goes on, you will see it will become easier to shift negative beliefs and feelings. So, if you are experiencing this right now, know that things are not getting worse, nor has the work actually made you feel worse, you have simply tuned into what was there the whole time. And while it may not feel great, this purge will help move things along quite nicely. You are letting go all the stuff that has been holding you back. I believe everything comes at the right time, and you are right where you are supposed to be right now. This is the work you are meant to be doing on yourself, and you can handle it. Things are changing but not in the way you expected. This is a biggie because we just can't help but try and figure out how the things we want are going to come to us. We formulate very specific visions for how our manifestation will go. We have a very limited view of what we want is supposed to look like. We anticipate that from this moment on, our life will be dripping in awesome every second, and that we will be bombarded with one great thing after another. After all, that is what working with Loa consciously is all about, right? Living a life of ease and joy. Yes, that is what it is all about. But, when you really begin to shift energy, that may result in manifestations that you deem bad, and you go into a panic. You worry it isn't working or you are doing something wrong. You make judgments about these manifestations, and misinterpret them. Things don't seem to be going as you've planned them, and it throws you off big time. But, like I have said before, everything that happens is serving you, and helping you reach your ultimate goals. When we let this idea permeate our being more deeply, we gain a whole new perspective on anything unwanted. We realize something that we would normally categorize as bad, is anything but. If you have set strong intentions to find a job that allows you to live your passions, the quickest way to get there may be getting fired from your current job, the job you kind of hate, remember? If you have set strong intentions to love yourself more, and live a more authentic life, the quickest way to get there may be your current boyfriend gravitating out of your experience by leaving you out of the blue. The boyfriend who treats you kind of crappy and whom you know in your heart is a really bad match for you, remember? If you have decided you want to attract more positive people into your life, the quickest way to make room for them may involve some sort of incident where a current friendship ends. The friendship that was kind of toxic and totally draining you emotionally, remember? As we move towards what we want and gain some momentum, we are likely to run into obstacles along the way, obstacles that allow us to see what beliefs are still dominant, obstacles that help us clarify what we want. Experiencing things we don't like is one of the best ways to figure out what we do. Without these things popping up, we would have absolutely no idea where we were vibrationally speaking. Relax your requirements for what your manifestation must look like. Don't insist that certain things must happen for your efforts to be considered a success. Focus on the feelings that lie behind your desires and you will attract more experiences that feel this way. That is what you are truly after anyway, so you will be satisfied with the outcome no matter what it ends up looking like. Remember that whatever happens is all part of the process, and will help you get to wherever you have decided you want to go. In closing, this whole living life by design thing can be a giant pain in the ass sometimes. You may have moments where you just wish you could settle for good enough, and that you didn't care about this type of stuff. I get it. But it is also worth it, if it means doing the things we truly want to do, releasing what drags us down, and feeling enthusiastic and excited about life, and not some sense of dread or indifference. Working consciously with the attraction process can change your life in ways few other things can, and while it may be challenging at times, I can't imagine any other way to operate. Just keep at it. Work on feeling good. Pay attention to the little manifestations that show you that you are on the right path. Celebrate all the good in your life. Know you are whole and complete now, right in this very moment.